Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. I'm Josh Off. He's Angel Ortega. Episode 27. Sponsored tonight, Amazon and Target. Amazon and Target. Getting to Target later. But for right now, Amazon is the number one online store today. And has been for years. With games, books, movies. It's all at Amazon.com. If you buy the link on our podcast page or the YouTube page, it helps support the podcast. So, support us. If you buy something you want, buy the link. It helps us and you can help yourself as well. A lot of stuff to talk about. UFC 242 is ongoing right now. As we speak, fights are going on. We talked about it last week. We previewed it last week. Something interesting I found out, though. So they built this stadium for these fights, and it kind of looks like a tent with a bunch of chairs in it. Anyways, it's kind of a weird building. They don't have AC in there yet. The AC's not working well, and I just saw Don Madge interviewed, who was the first fighter on the card. And he said that it is like a sauna in there, and it is super, super hot, and it was hard for him to breathe. So that's something to look out for if you're looking for, if you're somebody who bet on Khabib. It's going to be harder to grapple considering they're going to be drenched in sweat just by the walkout. So that's something to look at. Anyway, so we previewed the card last week. We'll see what happens. Next week is Cerrone and Gaethje, which will be back to normal time. So we'll talk about that next week. Anyways, last night, I went to Invicta Phoenix Rising 2, which was a pretty fun time. If you guys followed me on Twitter, follow KChat Press on Twitter, you know I was there and, doing my thing. Interesting thing, there wasn't a whole lot of great stories. Last time I had a really awesome story, I think, with the scorecards getting messed up. This last night was really, really fun, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Rose Namajunas was there, and I really wanted to go talk to her for a minute, but her fighter was in the co-main, something Lucero, might have been Sarah Lucero, something along those lines. Really awesome story. 41 years old, making her pro debut, won all of her amateur fights via TKO, and she's facing this 20-year-old Josie Storts from KCMO, and it's like, this is going to be a great fight. Lucero was cornered by Rose Namajunas and Pat Barry. Awesome fight. And then she gets ran over. It wasn't even close. She gets mounted immediately, gets elbowed in the face for like 3 minutes. Storts transitions into a triangle, a mounted triangle, rolls, elbows her in the face while getting choked out in a triangle, bloodies her up, and gets a submission. So needless to say, I did not talk to Rose Namajunas or Pat Barry because they left right after that fight, and for good reason. But in big MMA news, like I said, that was a fun night, but something that'll be even more fun, November 2nd, UFC 244. There's been a lot of talk about what will be the main event of that MSG card. MSG's always been the big thing. Last year, Daniel Cormier, the double champ, defending his title against Derek Lewis. Before that, GSP's big return, and before that, the first ever card, Madison Square Garden, headlined by Conor McGregor and Eddie Alvarez. Well, you can add another big fight to that list. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal for what is being dubbed as the baddest motherfucker title by both Dana White, Ariel Helwani, everybody involved. Dana mentioned how he might even make a title for it, which I think would be really, really awesome. Okay, so slight technical difficulties, but bad motherfucker title. West Coast gangster, East Coast gangster, Masvidal, Diaz. Angel, are you as hyped for this fight as everybody else is? Because I've seen the world basically going crazy for this fight.
I am. I think personality-wise, it's like what we need right now. I feel like we haven't had that crazy kind of like I wouldn't say like Conor type like personality in a while, but definitely someone who's more out there, at least for the sport. Because I feel like ever since Conor's departure, we haven't had that kind of person in the UFC, and now that like Nate's back, I feel like we kind of get that a bit, at least in a different way, and maybe not the same, but at least that type of personality the same way. And then I feel like Jorge just kind of coming off his win against Ben. It's just like the perfect story right now with all of that meshing. It feels a little too forced. I feel like I don't know if it's too soon, but I'm fine with it because it works. If it didn't work, it'd be a different story for sure though.
Yeah, but I definitely think, in the words of Todd Howard, it just works. Okay, like, this fight makes a lot of sense. Whenever Nate called him out after he won and the crowd went crazy, you can just tell this is going to be a big fight. I am so happy that they're not doing some, like, bullshit interim title. Like, you don't need a title for a main event. You know what I mean? Like, and that was the hang up. I'm not sure you guys remember this. Earlier this year, Conor McGregor was supposed to fight Donald Cerrone, in a main event. But the UFC said, "No, we're going to put you in the co-main. You have to be a title fight. You have to be a title fight." That's what Dana said. You have to be a title fight. And now here we are. They got their head out of their ass because Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz is the biggest fight you can put on at MSG for this time. Absolutely. They were talking about doing Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman, but ultimately that one, didn't come to fruition. There were issues with Covington, negotiations with him, and then they wanted to do Usman versus Masvidal. And then that one fell through because Usman didn't want to fight Masvidal, and they talked about stripping him, and there was a whole thing reported by Rouhani, and they were talking about doing Leon Edwards versus Jorge Masvidal for the main event for a title. And then, like, the 11th hour, Nate Diaz's people came back, started negotiating, and within, like, a day, they got the deal done. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal, main event. That, like I said, that's as big as it gets at MSG. And that's awesome. I love that fight. I'm really, really excited. And hopefully we'll be back here in, like, what is that from now? 3 months? Something like that? 2 months from now? That's less than 2 months from now. We'll be talking about that fight. It's really, really soon. November 2nd. That's 2 months from now. That's awesome. And I believe that kind of, like, wraps up MMA talk for this week. We'll be back, like I said, next week talking about Cerrone and Gaethje and recapping UFC 242. But we can't recap what hasn't happened yet. And I kind of messed up. I probably should have just waited, but at the same time, I wanted to give more than like an hour's time to listen to the podcast with people and be able to listen and get our predictions and all that stuff. So, anyways, but there's no basketball talk this week. Really, there's none. Normally, we'll have basketball in this section. However, we have football instead. Basketball, like I said, nothing happened. Really, the only noteworthy thing, NBA 2K came out. Everybody hates it. So, football, Antonio Brown. We've talked about the saga before with him and the Raiders. He had the whole thing with like messing up his feet in like a cryo chamber and him not wanting to play without a helmet. Helmet thing got resolved. They came to like a conclusion. I guess they found some old helmet that looks basically the same, but it's not that helmet. So it's fine, whatever. So here's the thing. I guess Antonio Brown got fined by the Raiders GM Mike Mayock for being a detriment to the team, which makes a lot of sense because he's been a detriment to the team. He hasn't showed up to practice. He's made a big, in the words of Triple G, he's made a big drama show. It's been a really reckless and weird thing by this guy who was like, before all of this, was like a top receiver in the NFL, like top guy, number one, in the conversation of like best receiver in the league, right? Got traded to the Raiders for a 3rd and a 5th round pick. And it's really, really weird because, like, imagine trading a once-in-a-generation receiver for a 3rd and a 5th round pick and you being the team that won the trade. That's crazy. But anyways, so he gets fined by the Raiders for being a detriment to the team. He shows up to practice. He sees Mike Mayock, the GM, sitting over there, and they get into a big argument. He calls him a cracker. He says a bunch of really aggressive things. He threatened to hit him in the face, apparently. Really, really bad look. And I guess he took a ball, like, at the end of it, he takes, like, a ball and he punts it. And he goes, "Fine me for that." Well, he fined him for that, and he goes, "What the fuck? Why'd you fine me for that?" But he got fined so much money, he passed the limit to where his money would be guaranteed. I think it's like $20 million is no longer guaranteed. 29 million, something like that. He's no longer guaranteed, so basically he's on a contract basis where he has to play to make money. The poor guy, he's only going to make his $66 million. The poor fellow. Anyways, so last night he puts up some Instagram posts where like it's him talking to John Gruden on the phone, and he's telling him to like, which by the way is illegal if John Gruden didn't know he was being recorded, which I don't think he was. So he's breaking the law now, and he put up this whole thing about like, release me, I'm not the bad guy here. you guys are doing this, you're doing that. And the Raiders actually, as we're recording this, just obliged. Antonio Brown is no longer a Raider. I believe he made little to no money during his time there, and one of the greatest wide receivers in the league is now a free agent because of his own insanity. Angel, what do you make of this story? Because I know this has been very entertaining saga to the both of us. And he's on your fantasy team.
No, man. It's been a pain. Because I already had to deal with some pains in the fantasy league as it is with Andrew Luck retiring. That kind of just, I was like, all right, I'll live with it. I pegged someone up, no big deal. And then, just now today, I got to deal with this. So my fantasy season has been a shit show. So hopefully it's not like that for basketball. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this happen in any sport. Like, at least I can't think of any other situation similar to this where someone was so just I guess, to be honest, it was more or less annoying. Like, let's be real, to deal with. That the team's like, I don't give a shit how good you are. I just don't want to fucking deal with you anymore. So you're off the team. Because that's essentially what it was. I've never seen it in soccer, never seen it in basketball. I'm pretty sure. I mean, in basketball it's probably happened, but it's happened differently. Like maybe there was some, like, it had to be like a trade or something like that type of deal, but never like this. Definitely not in boxing, and definitely not in the UFC or MMA. At least I can't think of any situation like that. So it's just really weird to me seeing this all happen. And I generally thought, like, for the most part, Antonio Brown was kind of a weird guy. Like there was something not like 100% there. Like when I saw him, I was like, something's wrong with you, bro. And I don't know what it is, but you're really good at football, so I'll deal with it. So that's it. Like I don't know. It's definitely something for sure. I'm just confused. Like it looks bad. It looks bad for him. It looks bad for any team that like wants to pick him up. It looks bad for his agent. Like, it's just not a good look. And brand wise, like I don't know if he's like with Adidas or with Puma or with Nike or anything like that. But it's definitely not a good look for that either. Like next thing my man's gonna be doing is going to Chick-fil-A and supporting Chick-fil-A. Man.
You want to know what's really crazy? So I just saw a tweet, and it's, if you include fines, Antonio Brown actually paid Oakland almost $300,000 during his time there. Dude didn't just flush away monster millions of dollars, but it actually cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. He lost money because he was so insane with some of his demands and his spats at the GM. Dude, I have never seen... Here's the thing. Diva wide receivers is literally a term in the NFL. It's a diva wide receiver. That's very much a thing. Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco. It's like, listen, one time Terrell Owens was like in a contract dispute with somebody. I can't remember who it was. But he held a press conference in his driveway and did sit-ups and did a workout in his driveway because he didn't want to do one for the team. That's a true story, and I thought that was always one that was never going to be topped by anyone. I think Antonio Brown has now topped it because not only did he not make money, he lost money, got into a spat with the GM, showed he was kind of racist, and did not play a single game for the Raiders. I think he played one preseason game, and I don't even know if he did that. This is my favorite story of the NFL, and the only person I feel bad for is Angel because he's drafted Andrew Luck and Antonio Brown. That's a next level bad tier luck. It's not even like we did the draft like in the summer or something, so bad shit could happen. We did it like 3 weeks from the season starting.
Hasn't even been that long.
Yeah, like it's been crazy. So I feel bad for Angel. It's not right. I feel bad for my man, but the cycle will move on. I'm sure he'll get somebody in free agency.
God, I hope so.
But I love this drama, and I'm really interested to see if anybody signs Antonio Brown. Like, maybe the Patriots. The Patriots love to do reclamation projects with players who are good. I'd be surprised to see the Cowboys sign him. I'd say Chiefs, because we sign every single good free agent that's for offense. We just signed LaShawn McCoy as if we needed any more good players for the offense. But I love it, and, speaking of the Chiefs, Chiefs versus Jaguars is tomorrow. I will not be here for that game. I'll see the second half of that game. And I'll watch what I can at work.
I'll watch it for you.
Oh, thank you, Angel. I really appreciate it. But I'm gonna watch the highlights. I'm gonna watch what I can. Mostly all of it at work. But we did re-sign Tyreek Hill. Actually, I think yesterday or the day before. 3 years. Pretty good contract for the team. It's like $44 million. He was on pace for like the highest wide receiver contract ever. Before the whole thing of beating his son and domestic abuse. Not that big of a deal. The Chiefs are going to be so good this year. I'm really, really excited.
That's all that matters, right?
Listen, man, I'm so excited. This is the first time I've been this excited for like football season in a long time.
Everything is coming, like, these next months, like, basketball's coming back soon, like, it's still a bit away. Football's here now. We have a lot of good boxing coming up. UFC's is, like, doing great. So these next couple months, like, entertainment-wise and podcast-wise, are going to be really good, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, we've been dealing with kind of, like, a bit less of content lately. Like, the podcast is normally an hour. We've been running out of stuff to talk about, like, 45 minutes, 50 minutes in. We're going to have that hour and some more in the fall season. Like, boxing, which we're going to talk about, because, there's some boxing news that just came out. And the football season, basketball season starts in a month and a half. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's coming on.
It's exciting. Oh, and not even just that, college basketball, if you keep up with that. So, that's another thing.
Yeah, I'm not a big college basketball fan, but,
we were still bits away, but, content-wise, eventually we'll get to talk about that. And then we also get to talk about, whenever the NBL starts, because that's going to be a big thing. Because, I'm pretty sure ESPN, like, they bought, like, the rights to stream, like, the NBL, like, which is, like, why would they ever do that? Except now that LaMelo and, they have that, I think it's RJ Hampton over there. So, that's another reason. So that'll be interesting. It'll definitely be fun to keep up with.
Apparently, LaMelo just played his first game today, actually, for them.
He did? Oh, that's cool.
I think I saw he went like 2 for 5, I think. He didn't really get much playing time.
Not that bad. My first game, a bit nervous. We'll get used to it, I imagine.
Yeah. But anyway, so that kind of wraps up football talk for this week. And there was no real basketball unless you count like the Big 3 title game, which was won by the man ISO Joe Johnson.
Corey Maggette retired.
Corey Maggette retired, which is a big deal. He's been like the OG Big 3 guy. MVP.
Played really well when we saw him. It didn't look surprised. Did he give his reasoning why he got retired? I don't know if you saw that or not.
I think he just wanted to hang out with his kids. That's what I think. Or something along those lines. And also, he got a really bad injury his first year in the Big 3. So, to come back from that. I feel like, actually, there was kind of a bit more basketball news this week. But I didn't really write it down. But okay, so Carmelo's probably going to get signed to the Nets. That's like the foregone conclusion.
That's the big rumor?
That's the big rumor, because I know apparently KD and Kyrie have both pushed for it, and he's been working out with a lot of the Nets players, and they all like him, and they have a roster spot open. It seems like that's the rumor that he's going to sign with the Nets. Over
Iggy? No, I'm just kidding. I think the big rumor with Iggy right now is that he's going to the Clippers.
Yeah. Dude, I love the Nets picking up Carmelo just for the fact that like they're gonna be OP in 2K. Like they're not gonna be OP, but they're gonna be pretty damn good in 2K. They already got KD and DeAndre Jordan and Kyrie. Now he signed Melo, who for some reason is
still really Kamaru Usman.
I thought to say Kamaru Usman. That'd
be pretty impressive.
He signed Carmelo, who for some reason is still good in 2K. I always signed him as a free agent. They're going to be a pretty damn good team.
This year, yeah. Exciting, man. I can't believe Lamelo already played his game. I'm surprised I missed out on that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Warhawks and all our Australian fans out there. There's in it.
Yeah. But real quick, the other basketball thing I was going to mention is ISO Joe, MVP of the Big 3, is apparently going to get signed by an NBA team. It seems like it's like a foregone conclusion to an extent, because he has like 4 workouts scheduled, which is kind of crazy, considering that like he wasn't even looked at. Like his last season in the NBA was pretty terrible, and then he's
Dude, LeBron was there. He might sign to the Lakers. They might drop Boogie and pick up ISO Joe Johnson.
Oh man, that'd be crazy, dude.
I
I'm
mean,
happy for ISO Joe. I'm really happy for him.
he played. It's crazy. He was in the league like 2 years ago, like a year ago.
And then he went out and just dominated in the Big Three.
I don't know. I wonder what it was. Maybe I wonder if there was anything like it was. It's probably the setting he's in reality.
100%.
But
He also looks physically better than he did, though.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe he impresses us.
More in shape.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe there was some lack of commitment. Who knows? No hate.
But I guess he has a workout with the Pistons, Nets, Bucks, and like I think one other team. The Lakers. Let's just say the Lakers. It's not real, but let's just say the Lakers.
So it sounds cool. So the Lakers. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. Hopefully something comes out of that because I feel like a lot of those guys are like they still want to play basketball, but it's like for some reason they're not enough to be in the NBA. But it's like maybe Joe Johnson can prove that like wrong or like, hey, I'm old and I just killed it in Big Three, so I can still do it. You guys can still do it, type of deal.
Yeah, people are telling Melo to go to the Big Three because of ISO Joe's success. Which, by the way, if Melo goes to the Big Three, he's going to put like 40 points again. Just saying.
Probably. I mean, it's not. I mean, with the play style, the type of personality, probably. I don't even know what team he played for, like where he would fit best.
Probably on sort of more like power, if I had to guess.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he actually be getting coached.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, shout out to all those guys. I mean, good for them. LeBron was there for the Big Three finale. He was there. I think he was there for one of the games, though. That's crazy. Like, a lot of, relevant basketball people were there. I know Braun was there. I know someone else was there. And I know Mark Cuban went to one, so I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Mark Cuban invested in that.
I mean, Mark Cuban invested in a lot of things. Mark Cuban invested in a lot of things, if you didn't know that, Josh.
No, I'm aware.
You're aware? Okay, just making sure. Alrighty. So moving on.
So moving on to boxing. We're going to talk about a really, really good boxing match, and then we're going to talk about a shit show boxing match, which we're both very excited for. Okay? First up, Usyk has his heavyweight debut. Okay? It was supposed to come earlier this year against, oh man, I just forgot who it was supposed to be against. I have like Cameroonian guy fought Anthony Joshua. I feel really stupid because I can't remember his name. And Carlos Takam, that was his name. Okay?
There we go.
Earlier this year in May. However, that fell through. He got injured. He was like the mandatory for the WBO, which was kind of weird. But that didn't end up happening. Now he's fighting Tyrone Spong, October 12th. Now a lot of people are like, who the hell is Tyrone Spong? Let me tell you who Tyrone Spong is, okay? Tyrone Spong is one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. He's the current WBC, WBO, Latino heavyweight champion. Now that means anything. Trains out of the Netherlands. Phenomenal guy, undefeated as undefeated boxer, 14-0 as a kickboxer. He was 91-7, and I believe one of those losses was due to injuries, so 91-6. Has wins over Peter Ertz, Melvin Manhoff, Ray Sefo. If you guys can tell, I kind of like kickboxing a little too. So this means some of these main names mean nothing to you. However, they're very phenomenal. Like, they're top tier. Peter Ertz, Ray Sefo. Ray Sefo is one of the goats at kickboxing, He's also undefeated in MMA 2-0. I love this fight. A lot of people don't because they think, Tyrone Spong isn't that big of a deal. He's not, really. He's not that big of a deal in the boxing scene. However, this is a big time to shine. 16-0 versus 14-0. Kickboxing legend versus top tier, light, heavyweight, former cruiserweight guy. This is awesome. I'm really, really excited for this. I know Angel, I don't think you know anything with Tyrone Spong, but I think I just laid it out for you, so.
It's crazy, dude. Okay, look, I've tried to look into kickboxing. Dude, there's a whole history in kickboxing. It's people don't know, dude, and I didn't know either.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. His physical attributes are kind of the thing that puts him a tier above the rest. because his punching power is crazy.
Also, the levels to kickboxing, dude. It's like some guy could be like 64 and like 3 and face someone who's, like in the same world, like 74 and like, 6, right? And there could be a really big skill gap between that 74 and that guy who's 64. Like there's levels to kickboxing. It's crazy because I know like, there's this really guy who's good, but then there's this other guy who's even better, type of deal. It's very different from MMA and like boxing. I know that when it comes to kickboxing in that sense, especially since the records are so fucking massive, dude.
Well, I think part of the thing about kickboxing is that, like, it's different because there's not really a top. I'd say Glory is the top tier, but even then, Glory doesn't have the most excellent of fights because before it was K1, but K1's really fallen off. So you have so many different people complain about like stuff in MMA. There's tons of different like people and organizations. In kickboxing, there's not one organization. There's just tons of people everywhere. And like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is technically like undefeated 64-0 and something crazy like that in kickboxing. But he fought nobody of relevance, and like they're not a big deal. Like you can rack up such an insane record in kickboxing just because like there's no real top competition. There's no real top organization. But Tyrone Spong fought in like the top prime whenever kickboxing was at its peak with Jerome LeBanner, Alistair Overeem, Melvin Manhoff, and obviously himself. He was the top tier of whenever kickboxing was at its highest, and his boxing was always his greatest attribute, along with his like physical strength. The dude hits like a truck, and I think his physical attributes going up. Like he's a legit heavyweight. And he's fighting, Usyk, who's making his heavyweight debut. I think it's great matchmaking. But nobody really cares about Spong because, he's coming over from kickboxing. Although he is a legit undefeated heavyweight himself.
Just hasn't fought anybody of great caliber.
He hasn't fought anybody of great caliber.
Until now.
Yeah, I see him as like, I think I would not be surprised if he pulled an upset here. Just because of how hard he hits. And just his physical attributes, he's going to be bigger, way bigger than Usyk. I'm excited for this one. A lot of people think like this is just a walkover fight, and I'm fine with people thinking that, but I just have a different opinion.
Dude, before we keep going to the next boxing match, dude, they had the conference in Saudi Arabia with AJ and Andy, dude.
Oh, they did. They had 3 of them.
I don't know if you saw that.
UK, one in Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabia one was weird.
It was all weird. Dude, AJ looks small, bro. AJ lost weight.
He does.
He's leaned up.
Yeah, which is good. I think that's what he needed. I think, obviously he was rocked and concussed, but he looked gassed by, the 5th round.
He looked like Adonis.
He looked like Adonis. He looked like my man Arnold in his prime.
Oh, man. No, yeah, but they had a press conference. I noticed that AJ looked a bit smaller. I thought that was interesting. Like, significantly smaller.
Yeah, he looked pretty much smaller. And apparently Ruiz is also trying to get smaller and, lose weight. But that's just kind of, that'd be a good thing.
Everyone their own thing. I can't wait to see, I do want to see the comparison from the first weigh-in, from their first ever weigh-in, when they fought the first time around, to this next one, whenever they weigh in on that day. I want to see, the really, physical difference between all of them. Because there should be something. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the rematch, but goddamn, I wish it wasn't in Saudi Arabia.
Well, I mean, Josh, it's not like we can afford to go anywhere in the U.S. either. So does it really affect us?
Well, it doesn't really affect us, but it'll be at a way earlier time.
Yeah, that's something.
Which pretty much sucks. I don't want to have to. It's gonna be so weird, man. It's weird. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Hey, man, we live in a progressive world. We have events everywhere.
That's true. UFC's in Abu Dhabi today, and it's the same reason as the AJ Ruiz rematch is going to be in Saudi Arabia. They're getting paid a shitload of money.
Can't blame them. Sometimes you just gotta cash in on that bag, man.
Yeah, they're going to make a giant amount of money, which is Matchroom and Eddie Hearn are going to make a shitload of money, which is also ties into our second boxing story of the week. Or
This is
third.
awesome.
Angel, I think I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one because it's your boys.
Okay, so officially on November 9th in Staples Center, Logan Paul versus KSI 2 will be happening as a professional boxing match. 8 rounds, 10-ounce gloves, no headgear. This is wild, man.
Oh, you forgot to mention something.
The Zone, yes, the Zone. So everybody out there, go get your subscription. Or don't get it. But the thing is, I'm excited about this. As weird as it sounds, I actually expect a higher level of boxing from the first time around, mainly because these guys actually have the ability and access to really good boxers. I know for a fact that Paul's been trained at the Floyd gym, and obviously even KSI's been at that Floyd gym himself. And I mean, Vidal's done a great job with JJ. Like as like I don't know if you ever like watched any of Vidal's content, where even like listen to him when he talks to Drew Doherty on that podcast. But Vidal's like extremely like a very smart boxer. Like it amazes me how I think JJ chose a really good guy, and it's crazy because Vidal is younger than JJ as well. But Vidal is a guy who I think just part of the Olympic team or try to be part of the Olympic team. Just hasn't been in the Olympics yet. And his whole analysis is just insane. I know I'm just talking about Vidal now, not JJ, but it's just I expect a very big difference from the first fight on both ends. At least, fundamentals and boxing wise, because they both had like there was something there. Maybe they're not meant to be they're clearly not meant to be professionals. Maybe they're not talented, but there's something there that can prove entertaining boxing wise. I believe it.
Yeah, I think you really encapsulated that very, very well. I think this is going to be a way higher level of boxing, not even just because technically
for them.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Here's the thing to look at this. Like KSI was training for what, a year? Logan Paul was training for like 3 months whenever like this whole thing happened.
Something like that. I know there's.
They've had like more. They've each had like a year and a half more to train under really good trainers. You mentioned Vidal. This is going to be a shit show, but I also think this is really, really interesting to see because you're going to see how much money can buy in terms of training for two relatively average dudes. Now, obviously, Logan Paul was a high school athlete, really good wrestler in college, actually.
I say he's a natural born athlete. Like, honestly, if you look at the guy, he has all the physical attributes to be, and for the wrestling, he has the really good wrestling body type, dude. The guy's, kind of long, very big up top, can lay on you like a bear, probably. It's insane.
Yeah, I think that, still, regardless, you're going to see, how much money good training could buy with, a year and a half, 2 years of it, and how high level we're going to see. And also, these guys have fought each other before. They know what to expect. They know, what's coming, they have a good idea. You know that Logan Paul is going to go out there and try and go for the knockout relatively quickly. And honestly, he looked, I hate to say it, but the dude looked pretty damn good before he gassed out. Not even just in the he's a YouTube boxer sense. He looked damn good. And that was with a couple of months of training. The dude, I'm picking Logan Paul to win this fight again. I understand I picked him the first
Someone's
time.
getting finished, though. We know that for a fact. There's just
plus
no way.
Plus 8 rounds. That's a big deal compared to the last time. The other time was 6.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. For sure. I mean, Logan, obviously, the natural gifts there, long, already has that kind of natural athlete mentality, I imagine. Definitely has very different heart from JJ. The jab was great. He could fight that European style really well just because of his size, if he decides to do that. He can keep it, dude, and he was clinching JJ from a mile away at the end when he started getting fucked up. Because he's just so big. He's just so long. So he has that advantage on JJ. And then, dude, JJ's gas tank, bro, fucking impressive. I was so impressed, dude. He did not gas that at the end. He was, what he had in the first round, he had it in that last round. And dude, if there was extra time in that last round, I think that boxing match ends differently. And then vice versa, if there wasn't a headgear, I think at the start of the match, if there wasn't a headgear, it could have been a way different story for JJ, and at the same opposite end for JJ, if Logan doesn't have headgear at the very end, different story for Logan. I'm very excited. I expect, like I said, a very big progression in boxing. I think it will surprise a lot of people. I know a lot of people who are there because it's going to be a professional, boxing match. They're going to have a whole undercard and have something special to mention. I don't know if you know about this, but do you know they're trying to get Billy Joe Saunders on the undercard for a title match?
I really wanted to talk about that. This is the one part I love of Eddie Hearn and Matchroom promoting this. You're going to see some really nice familiar names on the undercard. And like Billy Joe Saunders is a legit, like he's legit as it gets when it comes to boxing. And it's really, really smart because here's the thing, I hate to always draw parallels to MMA. But back in the day when Bellator used to have Kimbo Slice and Ken Shamrock fighting as the main event, those days of freak show fights, not saying they don't do freak show fights now, but they put them as the main event, and then they'd put their homegrown stars, they'd put like their top tier awesome fighters on the undercard as a way to promote their homegrown talent and their awesome guys. That's pretty much the same thing that's happening here with like Eddie Hearn. He's going to bring on Billy Joe Saunders. He's going to bring on, you know who would be great for this? Ryan Garcia would be awesome to put on the undercard for this.
Just a social media presence, dude. Like just that in of itself.
Yeah, they're going to have those guys who like, they may not like be, obviously Billy Joe Saunders is top tier. They need to have those guys who like they look at as like young, awesome prospects. They're going to have those showcase fights on that undercard, along with obviously Jake Paul versus Dylan Dance.
Oh my god, I don't even know if that's happening. But the thing is, it's like, people were like, dude, this is fucking disgusting. How could they do this to Billy Joe Saunders? First of all, Billy Joe doesn't have to do that. Sure, he misses out on a title shot, but if he's so prideful, he doesn't have to. You know what I mean?
He doesn't have to accept it.
Yeah, he doesn't have to accept it. That's the honest truth.
It'd be incredibly smart for him to accept it.
I don't think people are realizing how good this is for boxing. Yeah, sure, maybe it looks bad to a certain extent, but it's like, you don't know how many people probably got into boxing since that match. We don't know what kid is sitting in that arena is actually getting inspired to go to a boxing gym himself. You know what I mean? Type of deal. Like obviously I can't prove any of that. I don't know if that's for a fact, but I believe that there's someone there who's probably become a fan since then of actual boxing, or looked into it, maybe trying to get into the history of it. And I think that's exciting, because especially for a sport that's been dead for many, many, many years now. Well, not many, many years, but for a long time now, in the more recent years, I should say. I guess not many years. I'm exaggerating.
Dead in the U.S., we should say.
Been dead in the
pretty high on boxing.
Yeah, but dead in the U.S. But let's be real. It's very important for the U.S. to, be, in that world right now. So I think this brings a good element. Sadly, something that Jordy mentioned is like, dude, I think an amazing thing for them to do, so people are, when they get the card and they watch it, they're not just like, oh shit, when is JJ coming on, is they should have a YouTuber match. Professional. And I think that would have been smart, dude. I know Eddie said he's not going to do that. He said he's not going to have any new YouTubers on the other card. I think that would have been an amazing move for him, because that way people would have been like, well shit, I can watch this person next, and, I guess I'll watch, because why not? And it would have kept people, kind of engaged in the whole card. I sadly, they're not going to do that. I wish they would have, but they're not. I get it though. I saw that Keemstar is trying to get his own event on the same day, but an undercard going on at the same time. Full of YouTubers. Yes.
That is awesome.
So hopefully he can make that happen. Who knows how many viewers they'll get? Probably not as much, but people will watch, right? They will watch. I'm excited though. As crazy as it seems, I can't wait to see the physique. I can't wait to see the level of boxing. I can't, the quarter, the hype. I don't know. It's something very different. I hope the boxing world accepts this, appreciates this, and takes it for what it is. I know it's not two big names, but trust me, there's entertainment here to be found. And for boxing, this is very big and important, and it's a good step forward. Who knows? And it also proves it's like, for a long time, YouTube was kind of if you really think about it, YouTube was kind of a joke. When you talk about YouTube, people are like the website that has all those funny cat videos, I know that's a meme, but in reality, that's generally what it's seen as to the general public, when it's like, no, there's actually these guys out here who were trained for X amount of months and are about to kick each other's asses. These guys have prayed in a soccer match for charity, a full on at Wembley, which is the biggest, best place they can do it at. They've both made music. They've done all these things, movies, so on and so forth. And now they're on the main stage. They're at the biggest thing they could be at, From now, everything's just it's untouchable. So for YouTube itself, it's also very good.
Yeah, I'm like, the one part that does disappoint me is that they're taking off all of the YouTubers in the undercard. Now, I don't necessarily believe that will happen. I think that we might see Jake Paul. I could see Jake Paul being on there. Because he's mentioning how he's going to fight on the undercard. And obviously Eddie Hearn could say that, like, no more YouTubers, but I'm pretty sure Logan's one half of the big, like, main event. I wouldn't be surprised if he could just be like, yo, throw my brother on the undercard. Just do that. And he's going back and forth with Dylan Dance, which I think is a really interesting fight, because, like, we're getting it's the closest thing as we're going to get to, like, buying money and awesome training versus an actual professional fighter.
As weird as it sounds, I feel like that fight could actually work.
It does work. That's what I was thinking about, because Dylan Dance, I'm not sure if you guys have seen his Bellator fights, he's really, really green on the feet. Like, he is incredibly green on the feet. Like, you can see that, obviously, some of the fundamentals are there, but he is very much, he tries to run like a karate style, but he's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's still learning striking from Conor McGregor and SBG over there in Ireland. But he's not there yet.
Dude, I don't know if you noticed, but Jake never quit training.
No, I believe it.
No,
Same
yeah,
thing
Jake,
for Logan.
Yeah, Jake never quit training after the boxing match, and before that, he started before Logan. Like, Logan didn't know he was already doing it, which is something I found interesting. So he's been training for maybe close to maybe a year and a half now, maybe closer to 2 years at this point. Who knows? But he never stopped, and then I think that actually would work, because it's like Jake looked really good. Like, he actually had really good fundamentals against, like, I know it wasn't the greatest of opponent. But shout out to my boy Deji. We're just shouting out Deji right now. Deji, as much as Deji had heart, man. I'll give him that. Like, anybody who's really I'll give a fuck what anybody says. My boy Deji actually showed some good stuff. Maybe some better training, maybe some better fundamentals. Deji could have actually made that fight last longer and made it go to decision. But that's the point.
Yeah, listen, man, I'm really excited for this. Like, it's stupid how excited I am for this. This is just a YouTube boxing match, but, like, it's professional. By the way, something you didn't mention, it's going on in the Staples Center, so it's going to be prime time, a legit prime time boxing match on DAZN. Last time you bought the pay-per-view, I'm probably going to buy it this time. Have a whole day for it. Take off work.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, dude. Definitely.
Be a lot of fun. It's like, also, something really unrelated, the poster's badass. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the poster.
Poster's fucking badass.
The poster is I'm like, dude, who did they hire to make this poster? Because, like, I've done so many, like, I've watched so many events in boxing and MMA and whatever, where the posters look like ass, and yet Logan Paul versus KSI had arguably the greatest poster this year, and I love design stuff like that. So, like, I love it, man. I freaking love it. And by the way, the poster for the last fight was terrible. So that's like...
They've already progressed. Like, they've already progressed from, like, their last match.
This is literally the pinnacle from going from amateur to professional. Because much of you guys saw the poster last time. You can look at it. It's his actual Wikipedia page. It looked terrible. It looked like ass.
You know something that's big for me right now? I want to know how they sell, dude. I want to know so bad how that's going to do.
Well, the last pay-per-view, technically speaking, is one of the biggest boxing pay-per-views of all time. Because it cleared 1 million buys.
Yeah. As a white-collar boxing match. But I'm curious now how much it'll be, since there'll be an actual undercard, and there'll be people who are just, like, 40-year-old guys who are like, my man Bully Joe Saunders is fighting tonight, type of deal. Yeah. So they're gonna buy it. But I'm curious to know how it does buys-wise, views-wise, and how the Staples Center sells, dude. Because last time they had it at that Olympic Arena in England, and that shit sold out within minutes. So I want to know how the Staples Center sells.
Yeah, the ticket sales haven't gone on yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be,
Did he go sell out? Because, I mean, you gotta think about it. When they had the League of Legends tournament years ago, I know this guy into esports now, video games. When they had the League of Legends esport tournament, like, they had Worlds there for the first time, like, back in, 2014, 2013, they sold out the Staples Center. So I can only imagine it will happen now that it's a boxing match between two YouTubers.
Well, in my opinion, it depends on how much the tickets are. I think people will go to anything if the tickets are cheap enough. Like, I
guess you're right about that, too.
If they do it, like, a decent pay scale, absolutely they're going to sell out.
It's crazy, man. I I don't know. There's a lot of room for good stuff to happen here and for stuff to be added to the undercard. I mean, like you said with the Ryan Garcia thing, that'd be an amazing thing to push for. I know he got called out not too long ago. I know we mentioned that on the podcast. I already forgot who it was. That looked like a really good fight. Both undefeated, both young, both, good looking guys, a crazy following. Like, it's just perfect for both of them. And I know, and what's it called? And Ryan's already cool with Logan and all them. He did the Challenger games and all that shit. So it probably wouldn't be that hard to get him on there. I mean, obviously it'd be, 2 months notice. I mean, I don't know if they already have something planning or just didn't have a promoter, but it'd be something good for sure, like you mentioned. I'd love to see that. Hopefully they do something big with that. I hope they added some cool names on there, some young guys, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that, like, there's a lot of potential for good stuff, especially with the actual box on it, because some of the people should not have been on that undercard at all. Like, some people was kind of, like, embarrassing, and I don't want to take shots at people, but my man Scares, that was
tough.
That was real tough.
Against the boy Rocka, but now my boy Rocka roasting Riley Reed, so it's all good.
Oh shit, I didn't know about that.
Oh shit, okay, well, breaking news for Josh, but...
Very much breaking news, but there's...
I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for stuff, so it's a lot of fun, man. Like, it's stupid, and it's like, it's still 2 months away, but it's the same month as, like, Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, and I guarantee you more people will watch KSI versus Logan Paul than Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz.
And what does that say about boxing? What does that say about the state of boxing? Like, this is literally the reason why it's happening.
KSI versus Logan Paul made the Wikipedia page for, like, the top 25 boxing pay-per-views of all time. In terms of buy rate, it sold, like, 1 million and, like, what is that? Is that 1.5? Something like that. 1.05 pay-per-views. Million pay-per-views. That's not including that over 1.25 million watched it illegally on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's not even including all the other millions of streams. So...
There's a lot of money there.
There's a lot of money there. There's a lot of stuff to be made. I'm excited. I know you're excited. I do think we talked about this long enough. I think we went 15 minutes on this one topic.
I mean, it was worth it though, dude. I mean, it's something that for our generation is something what we're aware of, and I think we're able to inform people who maybe don't know about it, and maybe actually legitimately tune into our podcast. They care about boxing. Maybe they just listen because maybe they want to learn more about whatever sport they are. So I think it's good that we talked about this for the time we did, because it's a legitimately interesting topic and it's relevant to boxing. Like, we're probably gonna see it on ESPN. Like, they're probably gonna be talking about it as a joke. They're probably gonna find it as a laughing stock.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. It's really, really exciting, and I'm glad that it's happening.
Alrighty, man.
All right. Anyways, so before we get out of here, I want to thank our other sponsor tonight, Target. Target, one of the great stores today. Either buying online or buying in store. It's always quality with great prices. So, Target, pay more. I don't know. I don't have the ad read up, so I'm just going off the top of my head, and it sounded legit up until I mess it up. Expect more, pay less. There we go. Target, one of our great sponsors along with Amazon. But that kind of wraps up the podcast this week. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. You can follow all my MMA stuff and my other stuff that I do at Courtside Sound 1 for the podcast itself. We're at 500 followers. I want to bump it to 1,000 by the end of the year, but we'll see what happens. Angel's at AngelTega_01. So you've been giving him that follow. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast as always. And so I'm out. Peace and butt grease. Mouse click.